What's good, guys? Thank you for coming back to check out part 2 of Colorism. It's a good one. Nick was going in his bag, and I was jealous of his plants in the bag while we were recording, but it's important. We did get levels in the discussion on many topics and many things because blackness is a lot. And it is full of levels. So I hope you enjoy. This is part 2. Do you hear this? Do you hear this silence? Yes, this is a space where your ad could be played about your product, where your ad could be played about your business, about your show, because I believe we can all be great on different shows and platforms. So if you're looking for ad space right now, your ad could be playing here instead of me talking and instead of this silence. So next time when I do an episode and you want to promote your show, your business, or your services, hit me up at sheguessitpod@gmail.com. Now back to my show. Don't say I never gave y'all anything. I'm giving you this space to be great.
Yeah, you actually don't own it. Saying like,
so yeah. Well, all and that's how many levels are in this colorism shit, because colorism.
We haven't got to the meat and potatoes of this shit.
Colorism, it affects the job you have or the job you might not get. It affects the opportunities you get within that job.
Oh my God!
It affects your ranking in social structures.
It affects your vocal cords.
Listen, skin bleaching creams. They're not offering skin bleaching creams to Indian women, Hispanic women, white women. Self-hate that our kids automatically have because they don't look like the kids that they go to in that private school in that good community.
Listen. We talk about childbirth too. Black women giving birth and stuff.
Listen, Black women in America die more than other women in other third world countries.
Let me tell you, brother. I mean, my sister. Let me tell you. I said brother because I remember having this conversation with my cousin. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, look, man, they don't really talk about this when it comes to men too. But like, we definitely go through it. Because let me tell you, I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? I'm 36, no kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Not married. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to impress nobody. I'm aging gracefully. So I don't care about putting the business out there. But for a while, I was having like this issue with swellingness on like from my leg, my inner thigh to my scrotum. Mm-hmm. And this shit was bothering me. And it was like, it get to a point where it was just uncomfortable. Yeah. And I didn't have insurance. So I would go to the, I guess like the Minute Clinic. And then after a while I would start going to like, it's not like a clinic, but it's not like a sex clinic or anything like that, but it's kind of like, it's urgent like the low triage, urgent care. I would go to urgent care. Every time I would go, it's this conversation about, like, if I talk about pain in that region, it's this conversation about how many sexual members have you been with? Ooh. Like when was the last time you had sex? Mm-hmm. And I remember the first time they got me, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm also one of those people where it's just like, I see anything, anywhere. Like, I might think, oh, like if I feel like I got migraines, I got cancer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will definitely psych myself out and get scared. So the first time, I go and I will say like, hey, I'm having problems and stuff like that. They give me medication for gonorrhea. And my dumb ass, I took the medication. Mm-hmm. Got sick because I didn't have gonorrhea. Mm-hmm. And kind of jumping ahead to get to it, but I'll get back to it. Jumping ahead, what was going or behind the scenes of the story is that I didn't take time to think and be like, wait a minute, at this particular time, I'm not having sex like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when I say like that, I'm talking about like I didn't have like when I went to the clinic, it had been like 3 or 4 months since I had sex, and it was protected.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, but I got so scared that I was like, oh yeah, maybe I have gonorrhea, but I didn't have gonorrhea. In my body,
It
my
just
body,
when it comes to Black people, period, men and women, when you come
yeah,
in for one problem and you want answers, it's a shrugging of, just here,
yeah,
take this, get out my face.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what
So
they did.
yeah, so the second time it happens, like I feel the pain again. It's like to the point I can't walk. I go there, and like this woman is telling me, like she's like saying like, "Hey, doing the same thing. Just like when was the last time you've been with somebody? Blah blah blah." And by this time, I was like, "It's been 6 months." And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, and to be honest with you, this has to be the longest. This has to be the longest case of gonorrhea. You know what I'm saying? if that's what you're trying to convince me that this is what it is. And it wasn't until I took that tone,
Mm-hmm.
because I was telling her like the thing that bothers me is I pay for this medication. I got
Mm-hmm.
sick the last time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I pay for this care. And it's like I'm trying to tell y'all something's not right. Like y'all got me the first time, you know, but when I thought about it, I have protected sex this time. Like since then, it's been 6 months. Like it hurts. Like you know what I'm saying? No, it's not gonorrhea. It's got to be something else. And so that's when I feel like she took that third wall away, and she was just like, "Look, with you coming into urgent care, you know, coming into an urban area, they're always
It's an
gonna like,
assumption.
yeah, they're always gonna treat it like this because this is urgent care." And she's like, for what you may be going through. And she took another look, and
Mm-hmm.
she was like, "Okay, it may be this." And she was the first one. Eventually, I got confirmation that that's what it was. It's called varicocele. It's when like a certain like tube gets twisted, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I was. That's what I was feeling was that tube getting twisting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that yeah, that's what that was. And so she was the first one to give me an idea. Like she's like, you might want to go to a doctor, and then she explained to me, you have to go to a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I'm saying. Even if you went to a ER, they might treat it the same way, and then they might treat it like this, and then tell you you need to go to a specialist. But my thing was like, I get that. Thank you for letting me know that because that's not how they were treating it. They were treating it like
Thank you for
it was
taking the time to treat me like a human being, is what the fuck
right.
that was.
Because at the end they were treating it like is this here goes your brown paper bag with your gonorrhea medication and follow up with
We know that's
oh,
what you wanted. Here you go.
I'm
Bye.
just, but I'm just like man, and here it is, y'all over here giving me like a backhanded compliment. Y'all really think I'm out here having sex like that? Like
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you, there's buzzards flying around this dick right here. Like, 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 like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, like, man, but yeah, there's something I definitely want to talk about. Oh my god, something I noticed as a black man, a darker skin tone
Mm-hmm.
is I'm just like when these women not women but when these celebrities are starting to get to a point in their careers where
Mm-hmm.
they're having biopics
Mm-hmm.
done, and that's another thing too. When I was younger, the normally the biopics would happen when the person is dead. This is an age where the biopics are like people are alive, and so now they're making requests, and it's
Right. And
like
we get to choose our people.
yeah, little Kim was upset because Notori
Mm-hmm.
like Notori dark skin played her, and you was once dark,
Mm-hmm.
but okay. And then like who else? It was another thing where they wanted like a light skinned person to play them, and I was just like, what is going on
Mm-hmm.
with you know they want these lighter. Oh, Brandy wanted Holly from Chloe and Holly or
Mm-hmm.
Hallie to play her, and I'm just like, you know, kind of to your point with like your mom, like different stages of her
Mm-hmm.
life, like
Mm-hmm.
she got darker, but I'm just like, Brandy, I don't remember you being that light.
Yeah.
I, I don't like Holly. Holly looks like she's like a lighter. She's like a golden brown. She's like a cross between like light and light skin and brown.
Yeah.
And it's like she's so to me so light that if you took like a bag with hot water and like put it not too hot because we're not trying to hurt the person, but if you put that heat on her skin, I would imagine that it would be red.
Yeah.
Like that to me, that was never Brandy. I have to go back, but that was
Yeah.
never Brandy. I'm just like
Not even
this
on my favorite album with the doo-doo braids, the dookie braids.
right.
Her skin tone was brown and it's beautiful brown. And I would say photography, what is high fashion, quote unquote, has a lot to do with why dark skinned women want to, make sure you put the highlights on my pictures before you release them. Make sure you do the airbrushing.
Yeah.
Make sure you use a filter. That way your photos will come out looking professional. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you just taking a
My
picture and
nigga,
that being your skin tone?
I remember like learning what bronzer was, which
Mm-hmm.
was like a pot for me when I learned about it. Oh, it's just this orange shit black
Yeah.
people put on them.
Yeah.
When I started seeing like, yo, what is that gold powder on your nose? I was kind of it's bronzer. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck you doing with bronzer on?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same bronzer, but I'm just like, why are you making your nose skinny? Like, why are you trying to project?
It's like so many steps in makeup now that everybody's doing their makeup the same way, that everybody looks the same way, and I don't like it.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
when I want to say in the 60s and the 70s where black women really was about, let me show you my beautiful black features, and only the makeup a little bit is going to highlight these features, and though that was enough. So
Yeah.
now I have my 7-year-old that's in my house like, Mom, don't you have makeup? I said, yes. So why you don't put on makeup? I'm not, where am I going, Anya? Like, why do I need to put on makeup? Why do I need to put on makeup? Because you're a grown-up. Just because you're a grown-up doesn't mean you have to put on makeup every day. Makeup is something you
Yeah.
do for me for certain occasions. But when I leave the house and go to Walmart and get hella groceries, or I go to Target, I'm not putting on makeup. I might put on a lip balm. I might put on
See,
lipstick. I might make sure my eyebrows are trimmed, but at the end of the
see
day, I'm not
that's
putting up makeup.
that's why I mean that's another thing too that I realized too with me being dark skinned
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's like something just about my personality and of course like uh I've always been introspective. I've always been like at least had some inkling enough to know like what my flaws or faults are. Like I know that my confidence is like had it's not one of those things. I'm not like an alpha. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm something else. Like but I'm not an alpha. I don't. But
I
that's
feel
not
like
my
you're
personality.
balanced. I feel like you're not insecure, and you're
Yeah.
not like, I'm the man, I'm gonna tell you what you need to do is my
Right.
the highway. You're a balance. And I feel like all men should have a goal of being a balance. Some men may
Right.
tell me that I'm wrong and be like, alpha male is where it's at. Okay. But for me, I think men should have a balance.
I think what it is too is like too like being dark skinned too. I think it's the same thing that like a black woman goes, like a dark skinned woman goes through, of just being like, I feel like I have to fill the room first, and then for some reason I get put in these predicaments where, okay, I always kind of describe it as being like picture a bull that's grazing like by itself in the field. By itself, it's just life is good. It's not he's not paying attention to you. He's not harming you. The moment you go slap that bull, he's gonna charge. But it's like it's not enough for you to just see that bull and see him leave him alone. I feel like
You gotta test them.
I have to like okay, I have to always let you know that I'm on. Okay, you thought I was asleep,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because they all have this. No matter what facet of life, no matter what like platform it is, whether it's work, whether it's like friends and like being out or dating you with your boys, you're dating. It's like they have this idea of what they think like I should be.
Mm-hmm.
Like even like at work, it's like, all right, Nick, do you have any wise words? It's like sometimes I'm just like, no, I don't. But I don't want that. I don't
Why
want
do
that
I have to be
spotlight.
the go-to person though?
Right, right. Or it's just like, or I feel like when I'm not that, because I don't, because I come off as like, happy-go-lucky, being silly. I feel like comedy and also a smile and having the reputation to make people smile is
That's
what
your
they're going
job
to.
now.
Yeah, or I feel like that is better. Like you're going to be able to navigate through a crowd better. That's what you owe it almost to the people that get to experience you every day. They're gonna remember or think fondly of the times where like you made them smile. Like
Yeah.
that's my hello. That's my invitation. My card is like I'm known for, you know, being not being a jokester because I put work into not being seen as that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like so I try to balance the two out. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like if I allow it, like it's almost like I get overlooked for not
Mm-hmm.
speaking up for
Not
or
being
not
assertive.
yeah or not promoting myself, not speaking up because I definitely speak up. I think that's
Yeah.
why they've token me the wise words you have to say.
Yeah.
But like I'm not the person that's like hey me hey like yeah
Let
try
me
like
say something. Um, your personality to me has always been like open. I feel like I could go to him and get an answer. I don't feel like he's gonna bullshit me. He
yeah
doesn't come off cocky or like something to prove. And at the same time, because you can be comfortable within that balance of who you are. If I were a man that was like super alpha and like looked at you like, oh, he not giving me enough man. He a punk, or I could do this to him, or I could do
yeah
that. It's kind of like Black men always have to balance between not being the goofy person enough to be walked on
yeah
and not being the alpha male enough to be stereotyped as, oh, he's gonna hurt me, or I don't feel safe, or he spoke
bruh
to me in a way where I felt threatened. So it's always
man
like that balance that you got to do. And sometimes Black people that look just like you will hate you for being within that balance and not understand.
there's there was this one guy who I would say I'm sorry if this is an insult or anything like that, but there's one guy that you and I work with
Mm,
from Brooklyn,
mm,
a short guy
mm.
that I would say if I didn't know y'all too, I would say y'all were like at least cousins. He's because he's from Brooklyn and
Yeah.
also his root state goes back to Jamaica.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about,
Yes, I do.
and he and I were like just mortal enemies at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how he feels but about me now, but I don't really care. So he's not like an enemy to me, but
Mm-hmm.
just did not like the guy. He didn't like me, and I'm trying to figure out like the things. I'm sure the things that he didn't like about me, I definitely own that too.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like I felt annoyed by him because I was just like, man, like he was like overt, like
Mm-hmm.
out there. Hey, my name is such and such. I'm from Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
and me being from the South, I'm just kind of like, man, like it's always sound like you ragging on the South, man. And it's like, you know what I'm saying?
The South got something to say.
yeah, the only
Those
reason
some
why you
words.
down, yeah, the only reason why you down here is to get your education. And so therefore, like you came down here to get our education. So basically you had to dumb it down, if you will, to come
Mm-hmm.
get our education. You're not going to a pro-black school in New York. You had to come
Mm-hmm.
down here to get that education, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So I got annoyed by that. But also it was like the difference between he and I was just like, plus he was shorter, so he's like projecting outward into the world or upward. Like
Yeah.
I'm such and such, I'm from
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated it. Not just where he was from Brooklyn, but it was just like he was always I'm such and such, here I am.
Yeah.
And of course, he went on his own journey. He's
Mm-hmm.
living a happier life, if
Mm-hmm.
you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
He's living outward,
Mm-hmm.
with his truth. But I think about like I wonder sometimes like, was he insecure with like who he was? Because like I think I was just known for just like for a number of things, but people gravitated towards me. I didn't like have to go out and be like, hey, my name's Nick. It's like, and I felt like there was times when he had to test who I was because I wasn't like, yo, my name, hey, shout out my name, Nick. You know what I'm talking about? I'm over here from Atlanta. You feel me, cuz? Big dog up in the house, cuz. I wasn't like that. I was just, myself. And then sometimes if like, it was we were around certain people, then they were like, yeah, shout out, what I'm saying?
I
But
had
I
an
was
ex.
never.
I had an ex around that time that was very insecure when it came to you.
Oh,
And I'm
really?
just, oh yeah. And I was just like, what's the
Who,
problem?
who
And he
is?
was like,
Who got me feeling?
I just feel like, has he ever tried to talk to you? I was just like, what? I was like, no, he's cool. I said, what are you talking about? And I felt like because you weren't so like braggish and like in your face or in my face, so to say, and you weren't disrespectful or typical, he felt like because he knows I like eclectic people and people who are secure within themselves, that it
Right.
was like sort of a threat. And
Right.
sometimes how people come off to other people, it can be like, I know he not doing anything like obnoxious, but his motherfucking comfortability is annoying. Like, I don't like
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
I
sometimes that's what it is. Like, people's comfort zone can be them being very boastful or see me,
yeah.
see me, see me, hear me, hear me, hear me. And it's not because they're a dick. It's just because that's the only way they know how to be comfortable within themselves is to be
Yeah.
loud.
I feel like too, a lot of times because I'm not like promoting like big
Mm-hmm.
like alpha male energy. I feel like a lot of times I do feel like I get overlooked. Even when I would express like at work, I'm like, man, I've been in most like I can't tell you how many times it's like they feel comfortable enough to have this conversation around me to tell me like who everyone is talking about, who they want. But my name, I guess because I was there,
Mm-hmm.
my name never came up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think too, I was talking to like my brother at one point in time,
Mm-hmm.
years before I got to the arena of like now like girls are choosing and stuff like that. Like there was definitely a time I went through school like feeling like I was ugly and stuff like that. And my
Mm-hmm.
brother was trying to he had a conversation with me and he was like, yo man, he introduced me to like Biggie Smalls and Jay-Z. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
yo man, he's like, in my opinion, them motherfuckers is ugly, but they fly. You know what I'm saying? You gotta figure yourself out. Before he even knew, because my brothers are your complexion. My dad's your complexion. I'm the only dark skin. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why there was an ultra focus on my skin tone too, even at a
Mm-hmm.
early age. And like later on, I realized like, yo, man, even now, like being in Birmingham, I feel like, man, like if I rely solely on dating apps, it's why I'm single because it's like I'm like women don't be gravitating towards me when it's just like I'm here alone amongst a stack.
Mm-hmm.
Like women gravitate towards me on a very like, and this probably is why like your ex was insecure is because
Mm-hmm.
I'm more on a personal level. Like you
Mm-hmm.
get to know me, like you realize because on that in that argument, it's like you and I, not you and I, but me and the woman have basically broke through all those other filters and found ourselves in the same ecosystem. So
Mm-hmm.
the woman that I'm gonna like is probably gonna be at the bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
Like the woman that I like is gonna be on a like on a collegiate path or be somewhere like or doing something of my of our shared hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I did have to learn too. I'm like, yo, man, I realized I think there's certain boxes that women have for their dark skinned men. Like again, this idea of like, I'm like, yo, man, there's some stuff I need to do. Cause that's when I like, cause I think when I was like working with you, like I never really allowed my beard or my facial hair to grow. I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure it out, trying to figure what I would look like with it, but it wasn't connected. And for a long time, it didn't connect. But I was like, yo, it took me back to the conversation with my brother. It was like, I gotta figure out the codes of what a black man, a dark skinned
Mhm.
man needs to look and hit those marks. Because a dark skinned man,
Okay. What? Yeah. Okay. Kids.
because I feel like, yeah, I feel like if you look at the shows, like, you know, especially the black leading dark skinned men, like Malik Yoba, beard always lined up, beard always brush, full, muscles, you know,
Like
jaw.
that's what y'all feel like as men. Like y'all feel like it's these sections that you got to check off in order to be who you are or to be.
I feel that I think to be no, I do feel that way. I feel like to be noticed because
Hmm.
I'm like I've always been like I've either been skinny or I've had a medium build or I've been pudgy. I've never been like round.
Hmm.
But it's like it's not enough to really. It's enough to blend in. Like it's not like boom, and that's why like you know what I'm saying when I be seeing like if you think about it, you don't really see like a lot of fraternity, like frat black men, like in this like regular just build. There's always like, and it, not I don't want to say exaggeration, but you see them
Yeah.
cute dogs, big beard,
Yeah.
muscles. It's all about the
Everything
muscle,
big. Everything
you
big.
know, waves. Like me, like I was on some like okay shit, man. Like even now, like in the pandemic, like it suits me because it's like, man, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to pay for no $20 haircut. But now we in the pandemic and now it's like I don't want to risk getting sick. So I just
Yeah.
shave this thing on. I just shave this thing off, try to
Yeah.
line it up as best as I can. Got the beard going, pick it out sometimes.
Here I
But I
was when you came on here. I was like, oh, Nick got a haircut. Mm.
yeah, I knew I was gonna be doing this today, so I shaved it. But
Oh,
I feel
thank
like
you.
I feel like a black man, like the dark skinned man, he's gotta be like he's gotta have that wave cap on, he's gotta have those waves. I don't have that. Like gotta have that full beard. I ain't got that. Like what you know, the visuals really be tricking y'all because it's like it's all full right here, but on the side it's those beady beads. You know what I'm saying? They don't be
My
connected.
thing. Every woman is different for what she goes for in a man. And to me, it's always been like I like people who are secure within who they are and who are
Mm.
comfortable and who are knowledgeable and who if your style is whatever the hell your style is, can nobody tell you something to make you want to let me go in the house and change it. You know what I'm saying? And for me, that's what I like because if you look at my resume of male specimens that I've dealt with, they are of very different shades of brown, beautiful in their own way,
Let me tell
tall,
you,
medium.
I I still I'm sure you showed me pictures of Anya father.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know what I don't know what he looks like. I don't remember any of the men that you dated. I don't know. I knew you dated. I
That's
knew
so
you.
crazy.
I don't remember. I can't pinpoint and be like, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And because I was never allowed, I'm never loud about who I'm with while I'm with them. Hmm? Okay. I'm not loud about who I'm with at the time. And even right now, like I could probably only show you two pictures of the 5 relationships I've had with men since I've been 18 and I'm 33. Like I don't care about that shit. I care about the actual relationship being great. So when it comes to black men, I'm not a woman that's like, I only date black men or I'll only be in a relationship with black men. I don't care your ethnicity in order for me to be in a relationship with you or date you, whatever that is. Are
Mm-hmm.
you a good person? Is your character something attractive? Do you have something that's interesting? Are you more than just surface? And that's what it's always been for me. So when men think like they have to fit in this square of, okay, this is what I'm going to achieve to look like so women will notice me, it's not even that for me. It's more of
Yeah.
like, if you weird, I fuck with you because you're weird, and it's not expected. I hate expected shit. But another woman be like, I don't understand them because I can't fathom why they would do the odd thing instead of the thing that everybody else is doing. I've never been that way. So every woman is different. I say do whatever the fuck you're comfortable with because ugly males, whether they're celebrities or not celebrities, they always pull women. And sometimes they pull the most amazing looking women because their confidence is A1. What they're
All right,
into is A1. They fucking comfortable as fuck
Kadeem.
in their ugliness if that man feels like he's ugly or the world feels like he's ugly. But I don't feel like you're ugly. I've never felt like you're ugly, but I just feel
Mhm.
like sometimes because you're so relatable, like you're like go to and everybody's comfortable to talk to you all the time, they sort of make you feel like you're untouchable in a sense, like you're home base. Ain't
Yo,
nobody about
this,
to fuck or touch Nick because this is
yeah,
like home for us. But we could go on the outskirts of Nick and talk to people. And that's probably where you find yourself with people
yeah.
is being like, oh, I'm cool to talk to, but never think of me in that way of being able to
It's
like go out with.
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy you say that because it's like I felt that, but didn't have the words for it. But
Mhm.
it was like I noticed that sometimes, like also because, like I said, I've been in scenarios where like I would hear, you know, I would be privy to the women telling me like who they were into, and I
Mhm.
wasn't on that list. And I'm thinking like, there's been times where I'll talk to a woman maybe in that group, and then I'll be talking to them, and then they would have this refound or this found interest, this newfound interest. Oh, you date? Like it was like they never invested it in me enough to know like who I dated, and
Mhm.
it was like only when I start like coming around like with the person I date, like then that's when they want to know about like okay, all right,
He does have
like
a dating life. He is a human being. He does like
right.
to get his dick wet a little bit from time to time.
Well,
Yeah,
a lot more than
you
do,
know.
but
I mean, I was trying to give you the clean version. I just
not
I don't
not time
know.
to time.
It's it's unfortunate that that's the thing, but I don't want you to try to fit in boxes for
but see,
women.
But see, I also too, I was talking to a friend of mine. I was like, now we're getting to that age of like, especially with 2020, COVID-19.
Mm,
Now it's like this heightened sense of like, okay, I'm alive. I'm 36. I need to start tracing back all the things that I've been doing right and some
mm,
of the things I've been doing wrong because I need to keep this track record going on because I've made it this long.
yeah.
Like, and I wonder sometimes of like, the way that I am is a special made filter for myself. Because yeah, I've been to some drama now. I've allowed myself to get into certain drama with dating, but also too I've gotten to this point of like my age where it's like I'm not forcing marriage. I've never even been nowhere, no damn where near getting married. Don't
Mm.
even know if I will. I'm not forcing that because I
Me
don't.
either.
Yeah, because I don't force it because it's not something that's like prominent, like on my list of things to do. Like I
Mm.
wonder if that's a is that a filter like that I haven't gone through that like my other friends have gone through, or like because I'm such a point A to point B person,
Mm.
or point A or basically really I think what is more relatable, I think, is point A to point C. Because I'm a point A to point C person, if I'm not at home, if I'm not at work, I'm in transit, I'm B getting to
Mm.
one out of the two. Or
Mm.
I'm at B is maybe the grocery store or wherever I'm going. Like whether that like earlier today, I left the place. I mean, I left my apartment just to go to the art store and then I came back because I'm one of those.
I feel like relationship wise, you might find yourself in a relationship with the woman that you care about. Both of y'all are equally engulfed in what y'all thing is. Y'all merge, y'all lives merge together. And it's not gonna be like, you know, if we spend 2 years together, by year 2.5, I want you to propose to me. It's not gonna be that. It's gonna be like y'all might wake up one day, eat breakfast, and be like, I feel like
that's
getting married today. All right, we could do
yeah,
that. And it's gonna be very calm, and it's gonna be like, okay, we did that. That is our
yeah.
we did this together. It's not gonna be no, we're getting married. I got
Right.
married. Look at the ring, bitch. It's not gonna be none of
I,
that.
I don't
And
know.
I feel
I
like
don't
that's
know if
okay.
it's yeah. I don't know if it's like because people will try to say like it's your zodiac sign. I'm a Taurus, or it's your your personality, but it's like it's not that I don't have a problem with commitment. I do
Yeah.
better when it's monogamous and it's committed.
Yeah.
But I have a problem with pinpointing plans and being locked. Black sunshine. Okay.
Please check out She Gets It shop on Teespring. The website is in the description for the show. All right. I got merch on there for the show for those who would like to wear their support or show their support that way. You can support the She Gets It show and podcast and merch on that website. And if you can't get the website, just remember www.whoisshan.com, and you can support me on other shows too and other places to shop for merch. Let's get back to the show.
Okay. I I can't you like for instance, you will get nowhere if you're trying to sell. Sometimes I have made like rash financial decisions or like even I got my dog based upon a level of pressure because
Mm-hmm.
someone ahead of the line wanted wanted him, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh no, I'm getting him, I got
Yeah.
him. Like,
Yeah.
but for the most part, like when it comes to like making decisions on the fly, like a person could try to sell me something, and if it's like way above what I was like comfortable with, I won't go. Like I have to I'm almost okay enough to miss the opportunity to watch you go through the opportunity. Did it work out for you? Okay, I'll do it next time. Like I just so like if I get into like I can't get into a relationship where it's like a woman comes with a list of so I want marriage by this time. This is I'm just kind of like not to say that I'm not maybe that is some level of commitment. I will get into that relationship. I
Yeah.
won't waste your time. But it's just like I if you're asking me when if I think about it during the relationship, no.
Yeah.
I mean I think about it sometimes and I wonder if you think about it, but I'm not don't ever think that like I'm like, okay, yo, man, talking to Hakeem, talking to Jason and my boys, okay, yo, man, so
Yeah.
we need to go shopping for this ring, figure out what
Mm-mm.
her ring. I'm not one of those guys. I'm like, yo, year one was good, okay. Year
That's
two was
scary as
good,
fuck. I
okay.
don't, and that's the thing. I don't think I will ever be comfortable walking into a jewelry store with anybody I'm with. Don't don't even give me like an inkling of that's a thought. I don't want to know. Do that privately when I'm working and you're off by yourself. And I don't want to know like don't tease me with the idea of this thing and we have not discussed it. I think all my moves are going to be discussion based. All my
Yeah,
changes are going to be discussion based. It's not going to be no, all right, I have an announcement to make or this is what we're doing. Like, and I tell my closest friends this, I said, if I ever get stupid and get married to an individual in life,
mm-hmm.
there probably won't be any ring. There'll probably be like a contract of lots of land or acres paid for by both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll probably elope somewhere quietly with just me and that person. And we'll probably live 5+ years married without anybody knowing because that shit is not a big deal to me. I think
Yeah,
more of the union and the compassion and the want to be with that person specifically important to each other is way more important than a ring.
right, right.
And so when I say that, they be like, I'll be so pissed at you if you got married and you didn't tell me. Why is that like the thing? And so I really think it's about you understanding your person and that person understanding like this is the shit I'm with and this is not the shit I'm with. And if you tell me what time you want to do X, Y, and Z and I'm supposed to get ready, I'm not coming. Not because I can't
Right.
come. I'm purposely choosing to not come because you're not in this relationship by yourself. You're in this relationship with me. So you'll never be able to tell me when to go.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Interesting. But
yeah.
yeah, it's definitely crazy. Like I think I feel because like I am dark skinned, it's just like there's like always been this ultra focus on who I date. Even like to the point where I was saying like, yeah, it's not until like I show up with someone that I've heard or I've experienced girls like, oh Nick. So now they're asking me who I'm with, or then that's when I find out. Oh, did you know that such and such like Khadija had like a crush on you? No, I did not. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, did she think that I was like a eunuch or something like that? Like, because like to your point, I'm so relatable
Yeah.
and I guess non-threatening.
Hmm.
That also too, on the flip side of that too, with my relationship, I think my guy friends know me enough to know like what I'm into, but I feel like the alpha male who doesn't really take time to get to know me
Hmm.
or who thinks on the prehistoric way of thinking things, um, often might think like, oh, I've always had this, like, oh, it's Nick gay. I'm like, what vibes am I giving out? Other than, okay, you don't see me trying to like spit game to Chantal. Like, you
Or
don't
you're
see
not
me trying
always
to,
trying to come over and start the conversation
yeah,
with your dick on the table. I feel
right,
like
right.
that's to me that would tell me or give me the inkling that someone is shooting for the other team because they feel like they have to be so excessive with it. I hate that shit. Okay, I hate
Like,
that
like,
shit.
like our Brooklyn friend.
In the past, I used to purposely, especially in college, tell openly, not because they asked, just share. Nigga, I had the best fucking last night. When that nigga put that dick, such and such, and just say it openly in the computer lab, just to let that man know that I don't like you that way. And I'm gonna tell you about how good I had a dick yesterday. Just to check them, just to be like, you don't even have to act smooth for me. You don't have to give me no compliments or nothing. Let me tell you the great dicking I had yesterday, just to check you to put you in your place. And I used to do that with complete strangers that I knew were trying to, you know, uh get me in that way or possibly talk to me or want my number. I do it to my brother's workers that work at his shop. Like, never. We're not ever going to ever be on that level. And that was like my defense mechanism to keep males in their position and not in that way for me because it's just not going to work. And it worked for me. So I used to do that a lot. So
Mhm.
I don't know if other women do it, but that was like my thing. But at the same time, I don't like people who put on for me. I don't like to know that you're going out your way to put on for me. Whatever you do consistently in your actions, I'm peeping it. I'm a peep it.
Yeah.
And that's all I need. I don't need you to be making an elaborate statement or announcement that this is what it is and I'm doing this for such and such. Who you doing it for? You're not doing it for me. This is why I'm so fucking confused about couples who get on Instagram and do the ass poses and the bend overs
The
for complete
silhouette.
strangers, even the silhouette challenge for complete strangers, and you happy in your marriage, or your husband's happy, but he over here, doing thirst traps for other women, and other women are gonna hit that DM. What is that for?
I think like there's a certain level of thinking that like that's what they want. They don't want no man or woman don't want. It's like some it's not some women, but there's a certain level of drama that a person's willing to go through. Like,
Is that a kink?
yeah, I think for some people, not for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not
I
into
just
that.
like peace. Like I like a man that is very handsome and has potential days to be fucking sexy, but he don't know it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I like to look at a man and be like, damn, if he wore this and he had a tailor to do that, and he trimmed his beard up, oh yeah,
yeah,
he be it for everybody, but secretly, bitches, he's it for me. You know what I'm saying? That's how I like my man. I like the sneakiness of that man being a woman's everything, but he's my
right.
everything because nobody sees the potential like I see it. I
Okay,
like you said
okay.
earlier
So
about that
you,
pretty boy shit.
yeah,
I would never,
okay,
you never be with a man that looks like it's gonna take him longer to get ready than you. And I have been
okay.
with someone who took longer to get ready than me, and I'm just like, oh no, this is no go.
So you would have been with ODB back in the days.
Yeah, baby, I like raw. So
Yo, there's.
okay, so DB gave me very Kodak Black vibes of face. I don't think I
Yeah,
could go that far, but I
I
could.
think it was. I think it was his mind because he's a Brooklyn. He's another Brooklyn nigga.
Yeah,
They're not really known for the looks. Sorry.
but I like a man that likes, you know, a clean appearance, but not like pretty boy clean, if that makes sense.
Oh, yo, ODB had this skit, man. Um, and again, this is coming from an era of like everything was like it was art. Everything that they did, like the
Mm,
skits were different. There was a skit, I forget which album. I think it's the 36 Return to the 36 Chambers, the dirty version. And there's a skit where like there's these women, I guess they were like either at the park or on this brownstone on a stoop, and they survey and watching the men coming by, and they're looking at this one particular guy, and they're like, "Oh man, he's so beautiful. Damn, he fine." And then ODB comes up, and you can hear ODB like screaming across the street, and this one girl's like, "Oh my god, like that dude is ugly." And this one girl's like, "Oh my god, nah, that brother, he's fine, he's sexy." And they're like, "Yo, what the fuck are you thinking, Sherelle?" And they were like, "Yo, you don't see what I see." And they're like, yeah, because you wear glasses. It was just like, but that shit stuck out to me. I was like, yo, I felt like like I was, not to say I was like crusty and dusty and like what wicked like ODB, but I was like, that's how the ladies see me. You know what I'm
don't
saying?
get
Like,
me wrong. There are women out here that go for ugly cute. Like that's a thing. Ugly cute. You always pick out the ugly man with the secret invisible fine features that nobody else sees but you. I have that friend and that's just what she likes. And she'll be like,
mm-hmm.
"Ain't he cute?" I'm just like, "Girl, where?" But that's just her thing. But I don't know, like people are different. Um and it's always going to be, I think everybody can get somebody, but every woman's reason is different. But when it comes to like colorism, that's just something that works where, maybe someone's skin tone might make them cute. Everything else about them could be ugly, including personality, but that skin tone is enough. Or their hair, the way that their hair is curly is enough, or the way that their
Yeah,
hair is straight or long is enough. And I think that's just a thing that we always have to deal with. And a lot of times in this system, living in America especially, the way that you get punished or you get uh you know your court hearings may go is because of your complexion,
mm-hmm.
because
Oh yeah,
it's still that thing of like dark black men
yeah.
are are
You some,
controlling, um scary, but yet you'll have white people that got motherfucking tigers in their house as pets, and bears that they like to brush in the middle of the forest somewhere, and they feel comfortable. It's this mindset that black men are still supposed to be feared, uh and challenged and punished because you came out this dark, versus if
yeah,
you were a light-skinned black man on the stand. And that's still a thing. I think that's still how the beauty systems see beauty, where the lighter the better, the darker you'll get in. If people want to have a dark token person,
Bruh,
But it's really hard for the in-betweeners. Like you have to have
there's been
something.
there's been times where I'll be looking at like these runway shows and shit,
Mhm.
and it's like be what, especially with the Italian and the French houses, and it's like, yo, they put the weirdest and ugliest outfit on this prominent dark black woman.
Yep.
Like what the like a billboard of just weirdness, like with the outfit. I'm like, what the fuck
Mhm.
is this? But
Mhm.
that's just how they. That's how they. I don't
It's
know.
either
That's how they
and it's
feel.
either they put them last as a last showing or the first showing or in the middle to go ahead and grab the audience back. It's kind of like we're used as a bookmark for look at me, look at me, look at me. But don't look at me in the ways of this is the standard of beauty. Look at me because, oh my God,
Yeah,
did you see that? I don't understand it. Look at her. And it's kind of like,
yeah.
fuck.
And and because they new to the conversation, I feel like they think that like what we want is because what they hear is like, you know, visibility. We want visibility, and so
Mhm.
for them, they go for the, I guess, the extreme of that visibility. So let's get the blackest person,
Yeah.
the darkest person,
Yeah.
you know. And I feel like when it comes to or let's get the lightest person, like, you know, that's why like sometimes it's like this niche or this taboo that they gotta have too. Like if it's not the really black person, it's let's go ahead and get the word escaping. Um what is it? It's albino sometimes
That is
make
also a thing that they do where they get a token albino person to be in their brand.
right. It's like it's weird.
I don't
It's
know.
weird.
I want to see all shades of black people and people who are dark skinned that are from Honduras that are darker than you and I. Get
My
like
grandmother my
listen,
grandmother's from Honduras.
listen, a fair representation of um this too is beauty and this too is okay, and don't judge me just because my skin is this way. I don't think I'll ever see it in my lifetime, and I hope that my kids will grow up to see it because by that time the people in politics seats will change because the people that we have as politicians right now that are getting paid those $1 million salaries right now were born in the 40s and the fucking 50s, so they still think at that
Bruh.
time. That's why shit is
That's
not
why
going to change.
that's why they keep the dog that is the Trump supporters on that leash. They won't let it go
Yeah.
because that old because those people, they still want, they're the only ones that, not the only ones, but there are a group of people that want to keep it us on a certain old doctrine of doing things
Yes. Yeah.
with this new like favor of like what's the word, a privilege. So it's like, it's because some of it is like, if you think about it, think back to this don't even make, structurally this doesn't even make sense anymore.
Yeah.
Like this
They
no
know
longer
it doesn't
serve.
make sense, but because
Yeah,
they want this appeal of being better or being greater, let's leave it. Let's leave it. I don't give a fuck how much it's falling apart, how wrong it is, how it doesn't make sense, but let's leave
yeah,
it. And that's what kept this orange fool in office for so long because they did not
yeah,
want to see that their stupid asses made a dumb decision based upon standards that were not going to benefit them in the long run, right? So
yeah.
now he's not in office and they're still scrambling to hold on to what they still
Right.
are allowed to do.
How is this man? Think about this. This man that has no political career outside of this position that he holds.
A
He is
joke.
not yeah, he is not stepping down or like, yeah, stepping down and then going back to politics. No. Like, but how is this man? You guys are so afraid of letting him go, and here it is, like someone like Mitch McConnell, who has years in politics. Someone like Lindsey Graham has years in politics. Ted Cruz. This is what they do, years of it. And they have to hold on to this man because it's not even about the man. It's the people behind it. It's the people that support him that they want to keep. And the thing about it is, if you think about like their lifestyle, you might think on the surface that what they like their fundamentals and what they believe in is aligned to you, but their lifestyles are so different. Yeah, you might be able to get them and say, oh yeah, we're second amenders. We believe you should hold guns too. However, I live differently than you, uh, Ty Lee or whatever, like Joseph Lee, like
Mm-hmm.
in rural America. I live in, you know what I'm saying? I live in a mansion.
Mm-hmm.
You live in, in a cornfield, but you're a Trump supporter and
Mm-hmm.
you're a Republican. It's
Yeah.
like you're like, but also too, if we go ahead and shed a light on this, oh, but you don't want government involvement. That's why you're a Republican, but you get government assistance for your farm, sir.
You can't have it
But
both ways.
you got a problem with Taisha and her
Listen,
family
and
getting food
always
security.
pointed out, like, they're living off the government. They're living off the government. But
Not
majority,
how y'all, not how y'all living off the government.
listen,
Like,
worse. It'd
like,
be worse.
like what level of government did you use to get away with not paying your taxes, sir?
Listen.
Like, come
And
on,
that's
like,
what separates the rich in America. Not that you deserve more because you know more or you came from more. You are educated and knowledgeable about the ways that you can keep more separated from people who do not have the education on how they can keep more of their money. It's kind of like when you do your taxes, the poorer you are, the more you're going to get back because you're not knowledgeable of how you can keep your money and balance it throughout the year to make sure you're getting that tax throughout the year. So people
mm-hmm,
who are poor, those who do not have the education, get excited about March, April coming up because they're getting all that money back that they should have used and utilized throughout the year. And it's about education. Do you balance out in the year? And what accounts do you put your money in order to make sure your money grows for you in the long term instead of you spending it on shit where you're going to go broke in like 2 months? So it's about education, but we can't get the proper education if we're still stuck on the same old bullshit stemming from this colorism shit and this racial shit and this
yeah,
you do not deserve shit. And, let's redline these communities and let's make sure they don't have schools and let's make sure they don't have jobs and no playgrounds to be at. And they're going to scramble
man.
on how to eat. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to do the worst things and have other issues on how they get money and they live.
What be killing me down here is like, um, because here, like in Birmingham, it's like it's not. I don't want to say like it's segregated because there's no laws that
Mm-hmm.
segregates us. Um, you definitely see an integration of black and whites in
Mm-hmm.
certain areas, but it's like as far as white neighborhoods don't really be resembling the black neighborhoods. Whereas like in Stone Mountain, like if for instance you go and you go to Sandy Springs,
Mm-hmm.
you see a certain type of house and
Yeah.
damn. You go to Stone Mountain, you see a certain type of house, you be like, damn,
Yeah.
like they got a black suburbs in Atlanta. They got
Mm-hmm.
white suburbs, probably more white suburbs,
Mm-hmm.
but they got like black suburbs.
You go further down
Uh,
Cascade in College Park,
yeah,
and you be like, "What the
yeah,
fuck?"
yeah, Lil Burn.
Yeah.
Like you got black places. Hell, Lil Burn and Gwinnett, man, they got some suburban areas where there's Hispanics,
Mm-hmm.
like a Hispanic suburb. But it's like here it's kind of like, man, like you have like you have like what is it, Mountain Brook, and then you have Inslee. It's like they look totally like different. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like you always hear like older white people being like, Inslee used to be a nice neighborhood. I grew up in Inslee,
Mm-hmm.
but now Inslee is like they don't take pride in it. And I've lived in Inslee
Mm-hmm.
since I've been here, and it is rough, and it is like, I you literally because I don't have a car here, so it's like I would literally be like walking up the street and hear someone dumping trash out their car in the middle of the street, or like throwing yeah, they don't care, and I
Mm-hmm.
get the whole argument, but also too, it's kind of like, well, remember what were you there for what happened in Tulsa? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
you're saying like us take pride? Well, there was a time where
Every
Tulsa we did
time
take
Black people
we took
have took
pride.
pride with
Yeah,
Tulsa
y'all
being
both.
one of the six places that Black people have took pride in their community. It was torn down, it was demolished, it was bombed, and nobody wants to talk about that as that being a
Yeah.
pivotal problem in why things went bankrupt, and what people don't even want to talk about the fact of what is the reason behind Black people not trusting banks.
Um, that's funny you say that because, like, for instance, like they talk about land and us taking pride and stuff. I watched this segment on Vice where there's this, I forget the name of this practice that people do, but it's when it's called, I think, land rich,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, where it's like you have land, like for instance Inslee, the neighborhood that I lived in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's located on the west side. The person that I was dating at the time, his her father had a they had a house.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular family, he was like, when I speak to you, I will be referencing different properties.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to think that we're wealthy. He's like, no, we're not. This is generational of property. But I don't want you to think we're wealthy because we have mass property. It's just that people, they own their houses, they pass away, they they uh they give it to other family members. And I think that's another reason why, like, that particular neighborhood in Inslee, where it's like, houses are not kept, or houses are burned down and stuff. And it's like the grandchildren, when they get towards when they get to this land, it's like they're not taking care of it or whatever. But um I saw the segment, and it's almost the same thing where, like, but like in South Carolina they actually have land. So not only is it the property on the land, but it's actually they own the land, and several members of the family owns it, are inherited. And so there's this method that, like, mostly like these white men were doing is they would go they would go to the phone book, find out who owns the land, find out the family, and then specifically look for. So, like, say for instance, take my family for example, or use them in this hypothetical. So they would go and they would see Murray, like, so the Murrays own this high acreage of land.
Mm-hmm.
But then what they would do is they would go through the phone book, or go through and find the Murrays that live outside this city, or live outside this town.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a Murray that lives in Atlanta and doesn't live in Aiken, Georgia, or Macon, Georgia, but lives in Atlanta. So he lives far away, so he's not thinking about it. That land means nothing to him. He doesn't live on it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several other members of the family as well. So I'm not really coming to buy the land from you because I know that you don't own the land 100%. I just want your portion. And that's what they do. They start off small. They go and they collect, or they pay out. Um, they pay out certain family members,
Who
and
do
by the
that?
time, yeah, and so by the time, and I think there's a law when it, I guess, come to the business. If you own if you own a majority of the land, you can sell
Mm-hmm.
that your side, and you can almost force the minority. So if you take your time out, if you make this family that's the majority owner, and because there's many different owners of this land, and you buy them out little by little, you will start to have the majority of them, and you will make them the minority. It's nothing you can do because you can't stop, what I'm saying, James, or Leroy, or Nick, or whatever. You can't stop all your family members from selling,
Mm-hmm.
because you basically got to get all your family members to present or come up with a contract to basically make the heirs of this land like one or two people who has the majority of it, or you guys have to, when you guys all have a portion of it, y'all all selling it off, and now this person's got the majority, and that's some shit that happens. It's not known, but it's some silent shit. Like it's an auction, like because
And
again, like
we have to be loud about it. Shout out to Cherie. She just bought back her grandmother's house in
oh
Milwaukee, I think. And
yeah,
we have to be loud about it and find the value in ownership and talk about
yeah,
the value of ownership with your kids. So if you can't, because of where you work and what bills you have, they have like a super head start on starting to
yeah,
be able to buy back their family homes, because that's how a lot of families in New York have gained millions of dollars for generations, is by owning property and selling it off when it makes sense to buy more property, or keeping it within the family. And that's a worry that majority of Black people, I love the fact that we're getting out of the habit of kicking our kids out at 18 or 16,
yeah,
because we want, I'm done, like I did my part. Like, your kids are way more stable in life when they can adult in a not forced way, when they
yeah,
don't come out into the world not knowing and not being knowledgeable of debt and renting, and what are the benefits in owning, and just like step that as you need to. By the time they're like 25, 27, they're more stable in life and have a better footing as to ownership. And there's nothing wrong with being at home with your parents. There's nothing wrong with living with your family. Like, other cultures do it, and they don't leave the house until they can buy a house, until they can own some shit, until they can
right.
own their own businesses. And we have to get in the habit of doing that. But we could be here all day talking about this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is your hope as far as like colorism goes before we get out of here?
Um, I guess like my hope is that like it starts to not really be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That it stops being a thing. I don't think it'll fully go away, but I think that my hope is that we all start to relearn like the knowledge of self, because
Mm-hmm.
that's when it will go away, and we also will hold ourselves accountable, because I have been privileged enough to have said something and had an older person be like, hey, retune what you thinking. I remember like I still out of habit still refer to myself as a Black man. But I did have someone, at least I could go to in my grave saying I did have an older man tell me, hey, that's a political term, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
broke that down for me, like, you know, he we can go on for days about like that thought process. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I think what I got from that conversation was a knowledge itself. And so
Yep.
I hope that like, as we all start to go through this moment of time of watching people become awake for the first time, that
Mm-hmm.
we don't forget that too. We also have some things as we're protesting outside in these neighborhoods, that we bring it back home, and we also do some relearning ourselves of just Black pride. Um, because that's when that stuff will go away, because we'll start checking. And it's crazy that we're saying this, because also like Danny Lee, she got checked hard for yellow bone,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, okay, like yeah, we did that in house. We
Mm-hmm.
had we checked her. In, I didn't know this. I always assumed that she had like one member of her parentage was Black, but no, I think she's like some level some heritage of Spanish or Hispanic or Dominican,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just like you know man, um, she got checked hard for that,
Mm-hmm.
and so like I look more for that, of us being like, hey, and you're seeing more of it, of people
Mm-hmm.
just being like, yo, relearning some stuff. Even women holding Black men accountable with, hey, that's toxic masculinity right there. So I hope that like we continue to like um, get a sense of knowledge of self and be like educating each other, educating ourselves, because that's when we're gonna eradicate that level. I think it's always gonna be there, but
Mm-hmm.
the more and more, like you were saying, like massaging that muscle, once
Mm-hmm.
we, get that muscle strong, we're gonna be able to unabashedly say, hey man, like what you just said was like that's fucked up. We gotta hold you
Yeah.
accountable.
Or it'd be like, I want it to be like colorism, uh, 1923 to
Right.
2021. We don't, that's a thing of the past. Or, ooh, you said a old word like heat. Don't nobody use heat no more. We say
Yeah,
this
yeah.
now. Like, I want it to be that. I don't want my kids to have to teach their kids about colorism anymore unless they're researching it. But I just want it, and everything that pertains to it, kind of like a weed. You can
Yeah.
cut the top of a weed all you want, but if you don't get that shit at the root and then put down some weed killer, that shit is gonna grow back. I want us
Yeah.
to figure out how to chop that thing down from where it's at, and attack the root of it with
Yeah.
whatever weed killer we have, because it's not going to make sense. That's why I'm
Colors.
very welcoming of, I love black people loving on black people, but I do
Yeah.
also equally love this, and I know people are gonna be like, "What?" I love the fact that different races are coming together and creating life with different races also, because once we get to a point where it makes no sense what I am, I'm human, and it
Yeah.
makes no sense what my parents are, I'm human. I think it's going to be dumb to be like, you're not black enough, or you're discriminating against me because I'm black. I'm more
Yeah.
than just black.
Yeah. I think it's funny because like I've always argued about like being considered millennial because I just like feel like that's such a bad term, but it's crazy because I guess one of the things about being millennial is like there's a generation Z, and it's kind of like we're growing up at the same time as them,
Mm-hmm.
um, or we're experiencing things at the same time, and like watching them now is kind of like it's crazy because it's like that level of just like wokeness, if you will, or just being aware. It's like I feel like man, like going forward, like they've got some things together where it's like yeah, it's going to get to that point where like hey, you need to respect all walks of life,
Mm-hmm.
all humanage, all I just made a
Mm-hmm.
word, but all
Humanage. I like
all like
humanage. Let
humanage,
me
like
stick my humanage in. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Excuse my humanage voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that like even now, like you know, people are starting to like you can't have black pride without having a conversation within the black diaspora about trans life or uh you know LGBT
Mm-hmm.
um Q plus um
Mm-hmm.
you can't have these conversations without having these other conversations, are even the conversation of like hey, black women are showing up for black men are y'all showing up for white are showing up for women, not white
Mm-hmm.
women, but showing up for black women.
Mm-hmm.
Slip.
Yeah.
um but yeah,
Get
I've
him.
heard I heard that too. Like I felt that because as we're talking about in this time, like we were talking about, we're all talking about George Floyd and things going on. I was reading this other article with these sisters, and they was talking about like, hey, black women show up for black men all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
we need black men to show up for us. And so I feel like we're in this age of accountability,
Mm-hmm.
and it's great too because it's like we're starting to change the words a little bit, where it's like which counter like instead of colorism, accountability, instead
Mm-hmm.
of racism, because I feel like you know racism and all that stuff, they're byproducts of each other. Like colorism is a byproduct of racism.
Mm-hmm.
Racism is white folks. Colorism is the shit that it's the grease from the racism that like now that we have in our system. it's that inner shit that like it's like we either put ourselves on pedestal because she's light, which means which rhymes with white, or she's like, or we put them down because they're dark. And so I feel like we could be talking about this forever, but yeah.
I know. Nick, tell these people where to find you.
You can find me at darkskin Drake __.
Look at all that colorism in his name.
Yo, like that shit is real because I was like, I don't want to be like, how people be like, yo, I'm the black version of, what I'm saying? I'm the black version of a white man. No, I'm dark skin Drake. What I'm saying? I'm the dark skin version of him. But yeah, darkskin Drake __. That's where you can find me.
He's a plant connoisseur. If y'all could see these motherfucking collage of like live living happy plants behind Nick in his home, it's amazing. I'm jealous, but I'm not there yet. I'm not there on my plantage yet. I have
you got hella sun though.
I do have good sun in my house. I will say that, but you killing me right now with these plants right now. Do you talk to your plants?
I do not. I don't talk to them.
What?
I name them though. People say that people ask me that all the time. I don't talk to them. I name them though.
Oh wow. And your dog doesn't touch your plants?
He definitely does.
Okay.
He definitely does. There's this one right here where I was looking at. I was like, man, this shit look kind of weird. If you look at this, like that's him ripping that off. He's just, and it was floor level, and he was just snipping at it like it was like food. Like I'm just gonna nut. So it's crazy. They were all looking like this, like shooting out. Now they're just little nubs because
they scared. Just get a goddamn dog.
Well,
thank you for doing this. I feel like there's like 10 more topics we could do from what we discussed because colorism is layered. But I got you. You're not going anywhere. I'm here. You're here. We'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Yes, we will.
All
we
right.
will. All right.
All right, Nick motherfucking Murray. You have a good night.
All right. All right, Chantal.
Thank you.
You have a good one. Yep.
Bye.
Yep. Bye.